On tonight's episode, here on Friday's Break, here for IE Sports Radio, we preview the NBA Southwest Division, which includes the Dallas Mavericks, Houston Rockets, San Antonio Spurs, the Memphis Grizzlies, and the New Orleans Pelicans. Can the previous number 1, number 2 pick, John Morant, Zion Williamson, get their act together to help lead their team for a good playoff run? Or their antics kind of slow their team's progress for greater things? The San Antonio Spurs welcome their number 1 overall draft pick, Victor Wembanyama. Can he help lead the Spurs into a new generation under Greg Popovich? The Dallas Mavericks kept Kyrie Irving around. Can he and Luka Doncic coexist to get the Mavs back to glory? And the Houston Rockets, with a new coach in Ime Udoka and a lot of youngsters, can they turn things around in year 1? Plus, we'll go over the WNBA Finals Game 1, what we like about it, who needs to show up in Game 2, and all that. But this is Fast Break here live on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all sports, and you're welcome to join us. And join us as you shout tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Lots to talk about, lots to get into here tonight. Sorry, it came in a little bit late. I was out. I went to a church event. My mom invited me to, so that's why we kind of started late and all that stuff. And my child been sick, so I didn't want to get her something. So sorry for the delay. It's in the chat if y'all hop in. But this is why the show kind of ran late. Started off late tonight. But D-Lock, how you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing pretty well. NBA preseason has started, and the season is basically back. Checking out what Celtics are doing tonight, and Anthony Davis started the season out pretty well. Him and D'Angelo Russell, for the Lakers against the Warriors. So, very good weekend.
Yeah, very good weekend. Football's going on. Basketball's getting up and rolling. Baseball, they're in the playoffs now. Hockey's getting up and rolling as well. So it's like that time of the year. Everybody's kind of going around the same time. And everybody kind of, loves it and all that stuff. But to switch gears real quick, D-Lock, let's talk about the WNBA Finals real quick. Game 1 happened today between the Las Vegas Aces, New York Liberty. The Aces win 99-82 with Asia Wilson, 19 points, 8 rebounds, but was a stud defensively with 3 blocks and 2 steals. Let's see. Kelsey Plum, 26 points. Jackie Young, 26 points as well. And see, especially in that fourth quarter, especially with Plum and Young, they kind of got what they want scoring wise, especially that down the stretch. Clark off the bench had 8 points for the Aces. On the Liberty side of things, Breanna Stewart had 21 points. 16 points for Jones, 10 for Vandersloot, but she missed some bunnies in that game. They didn't really kind of help her team's cause. And then Sabrina, she only had 7 points. Didn't shoot the ball well. Possibly should have had a travel call called against her, which led to Becky Hammond get a technical. Remember that didn't really matter. So D-Lock, Game 1's in the books. I think the matchup we all been anticipating for a good while, kind of like midway through the season. What are your thoughts after Game 1 with the Aces kind of really pulling away in that second half, winning 99-82? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it was a pretty good matchup for a while. There was a lot of kind of confusing calls.
Yeah,
it kind of made you wonder. a few things, but Kelsey played outstanding. To me, I think she was one of the people that stuck out. Could have. I mean, her shooting was just, decent to me. I think where she didn't shoot that well at the 3-point line, but she 26 points. She was a little bit in foul trouble, but she played good. Had a couple boards or a few boards, so she all around played pretty well. And also Jackie Young played good as well. So for me, I think that the Aces just looked very good when they needed to. They pulled away. They were shooting damn near 40% from the 3-point land. 50, almost 55% in field goals. So they stepped up when they needed to. And their big guns played well when they needed to. And I think that was the biggest difference between them and Liberty. And also, I'm not going to forget about Chelsea, who played good as well. So that trio over there has played extremely great to me. That guard play helped out a lot for Aces. Now, like I said, obviously, I think Liberty will come back and have a better game 2. But Aces came ready to play it. They closed it out. And I think if they continue to get that consistent play, it's going to be very much hard for Liberty, to get this title. I believe Brianna Stewart could play a little bit better.
Yeah.
Didn't shoot that well, but she does have those games from time to time, and she bounces back. So I expect her to play a hell of a lot better game 2. So, knowing that she's kind of like the lead charge there, almost taking damn near 10 more shots than everybody else. So, just be prepared for her to come, back ready to play game 2. Like I said, it definitely was locked up. Definitely was locked up, halftime. And then it just seemed like the Aces just, went in, did their adjustments, played a hell of a lot better. So I think that, this series has a lot more left in it, but the Aces proved, that they came ready to play game 1.
I think, the guard play. That backcourt had 20. Both ladies had 26 points apiece. If a backcourt is scoring 26 points apiece, unless somebody else on your team is having a great game, you can't really offset that. And Miss Sabrina, 7 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. That's not going to cut it. And Sabrina, she at least got to score. If they're going to win this series and win the championship, she at least got to score at least 20 points per game. If she could bring at least that to the table, you talking about different ball games. And then you possibly go more for half-court offense for Brianna Stewart to get, her game going. Now, we say that, and she's getting guarded by one of the best players in the world in Asia Wilson. Easier said than done. So that's what I think. What's going to happen for the Liberty to win game 2. Sabrina got to come out and play well. Like you alluded to by Brianna Stewart, I think she can play a little bit better. But also the bench, you got to get something out of your bench. I know Maureen Johannes, she had like 14 off the bench. But I think a couple other players, they got to contribute as well. Because that Marcy, if Asia Wilson going to hold Brianna Stewart in check for the most part, to a degree, and nobody else going to step up, then, what are we doing here? But, Gray for the Aces, she had 9 assists as well. So, and plus she had, I forgot to mention, she had 20 points her damn self. So 3 players and 20 points. Asia Wilson 19. Hey, you can't. I mean, that's hard to beat right there. I'll let you have the last word.
Yeah, I think that, like I said, you have a hell of a series about to happen. But when the Aces come in and be as dominant as they were, that second half, it makes it a hell of a lot tougher on Liberty. But like I said, Brianna Stewart has to come out, be more aggressive, be more efficient in the shooting. And like I said, her, a few others, I think they'll be in the running. But you look at the first 2 quarters, they matched each other. First quarter 25-22, second quarter 24-24 all, and then that third quarter is where you see that big ass difference. A 10-point Liberty puts up 16, Aces put up 26. So when that happens, that plays a huge part on that difference in the fourth quarter. And the Aces, they didn't really drop off. They were consistent. First quarter 22, second 24, third 26, and fourth 27. You see Liberty have, finished the first half with 49, but only can get 33 in the second half. So I think that if we can get more consistent, efficiency from this Liberty offense, I think you'll see a closer game. Aces are going to be very hard, though.
Who you got for game 2 on Wednesday night on ESPN?
Right now, very tough. I do like Liberty to come back and play a little bit more, play a little better. Looking at shooting 30% 3-point land, 46% field goal range. I do like them to play a hell of a lot better, but I think that the Aces are they're clicking right now. I like what Kelsey and Jackie has put up. Hell, all that being said, Stokes didn't even get started yet. So for me, I feel like they're gonna. They don't use too much of their bench, so their crew or their group of young ladies, they're getting it done. So I think that the Aces will take that game too. To be honest with you, I think that Liberty will come with it. Brianna Stewart to play a lot better. But if you get the same consistent play from the Aces, I think they definitely take that one.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards the Liberty. I mean, not Liberty. Aces in game 2. Only way I see the Liberty win is like maybe if Sabrina can slow down one of the guards and your post play, if your Liberty plays back better, and also get Asia Wilson in foul trouble. Try to work down your game plan. Get her in foul trouble. See how that goes for the flow of the game. And maybe you lose to by Brianna Stewart. Maybe you can dominate down low with her. But give me the Aces of game 2 because I think Sabrina is not there in this series. So give me the Aces to win game 2 Wednesday night. To go over some preseason scores real quick before we get to our Southwest Division preview. And if y'all in the chat, shout out to the chat, Terry Rodriguez. Shout out to Marcus Los. Great. Thank y'all for tuning in. I know we came in a little late. But give y'all predictions. 5-1. 5 being the lowest, 1 being top. Who comes out on top of the Southwest Division between the Mavs, Rockets, Spurs, Riz, and the Pelicans? Preseason scores. Celtics are playing the Sixers right now. 106, 103, 107, 109, 103 right now. 23 points for Peyton Pritchard. Holiday came off the bench today. 6 points for him. I think he'll be the starting lineup pretty soon. They ran the starting lineup for the Celtics. Porzingis, Horford, Tatum, White, and Brown. With Brown having 19 points. Going for the Sixers side of things. Maxey with 24 points. No Joel Embiid tonight. And also no James Harden. Oubre at 6 points off the bench for him. Jaden Springer's 14 points for him as well. Going to the Celtics real quick. We talked about Drew Holiday last week. They paid Peyton Pritchard today. That's a guy who is like a fan favorite up in Boston. If we're going to be real about that. Guy that's played pretty modestly here the past couple of years. But, I mean, really hasn't wowed you yet. What do you expect for him since he got this contract extension? What do you think Boston is expecting out of him to produce this year? Because I'm already on record saying the Boston Celtics are title contenders since they got Drew Holiday. They're my favorites. We ain't gonna have a lot of thinking about Peyton Pritchard, but does he help move the needle with more extended playing time this year?
Well, to be honest, I don't know how much more playing time he will get. I mean, you trade for Drew Holiday, moving Brogdon. But hell, to be honest with you, all those moves tell me that they're going to give more workload and minutes to Derek White. And I think he's going to be one that plays a huge role now. I believe they did sign Delano Batten from Toronto. Also Lamar Stevens. So they have some more depth at the guard position, but I do think Peyton Pritchard does get minutes. I think that they just don't expect so much as far as production from him than Derek White, who I think will be the quarterback of that offense when Drew Holiday or Jaylen Brown is out. But there are times where I'm sure we'll see Drew Holiday on the bench, and Jaylen Brown will run the offense. So, I had messaged you, and I was like, well, hell, they giving out money. They still got to pay Jason Tatum. But I think, to be honest, this move was probably more so about, even though they did pay Peyton Pritchard, I think this move is more so about how they trust Drew Holiday. They're good at the guard position. I think they feel a hell of a lot more comfortable with the guard they have this year than last year. So, obviously, moving Marcus Smart, Brogdon. Now, you got you another defender in Drew Holiday who can also shoot. So I think we see a big increased role in Drew Holiday. But I think Peyton Pritchard does come in, gets a big bump in minutes, but I think Derek White is the one that, is impacted the most. They're just locking up their guard position to make sure they're fine there. And, giving him that much money would have me kind of confused, but, they wanted to lock him up and, to keep their floor, at the pieces that they have. I just think that Derek White is going to probably benefit the most outside of Drew Holiday from this trade. And Peyton Pritchard will get in, but I think that his role won't be as much as intense. I think he will be in, but I think Derek White will be the one that runs the charge.
Real quick for me, I think it's just like it's kind of premature to give him like that type of extension. Unless you think about flipping him down the line. But I was just thinking, like you alluded to about Derek White, once they get Drew Holiday, more settled in and stuff like that, he'll be starting and Derek White be going to the bench. Or, maybe Al Horford goes to the bench and to keep Derek White out there with Drew Holiday. I don't know. But if you pay somebody that type of money, you expect them to come in and produce. And probably in the smaller lineups, we probably see Peyton Pritchard out there. But if he can come in ball and stuff like that, that'd be great for them. And good insurance, just in case White or Holiday go down. But, like you alluded to, it's like he play like good 10 minutes or so each game, but it's like he'll have an impact here and there, but it's like I'm not seeing somebody you pay $30 million out to. With Malcolm Brogdon, and when he's healthy, yeah, he's fine, good, and stuff like that. But it's few and far between. But I think me and you probably agree with this. We'll both take Malcolm Brogdon over Peyton Pritchard every day. So, we'll see how it plays out for them. Could this be like used as a move down the road? I don't know, but I think it's a kind of overpay. I don't mind them keeping them, but I think it's kind of like a slight overpay, for a guard like this that really haven't really stuck out like this. And that's always the thing about the NBA and their contracts. They always kind of pay for future production, and sometimes it don't work out in teams' favors. So, anyways, got that game going on. In which the Boston Celtics probably going to close out. Pacers, Grizzlies, they playing right now, which we'll talk about the Grizzlies here momentarily. Grizzlies up 32. Both teams are 32 all right now in the first quarter. In which, look at the lineup right now for the Grizzlies. They started Jaren Jackson, Steven Adams, Derrick Rose, Luke Kennard, and Desmond Bane. And no John Morant tonight. Kings, Raptors. Kings up by 3, 28-25. Going down the list. Other today's scores: Bucks 105, Bulls 102. With no Giannis and no Damian Lillard tonight, as expected. No Chris Middleton as well. So, but they still pull out the victory for the Bulls. Still got Patrick Williams playing that stretch 4 in that starting lineup. God bless him. But only person that really didn't play for the Bulls was Lonzo Ball. We'll talk more about the Central next week. The Suns squeaked out in overtime against the Pistons, 130-126. Let me ask you a question on the Suns. Them not having a true point guard, is that going to hurt them?
Ooh. I don't think so. I think the fact that you're looking at, Devin Booker is going to be probably leading his offense a lot. They do need a captain, but Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, I think they should be able to lead his offense. This offense should score a hell of a lot of points. They had a true point guard last year in Chris Paul, and we see how that went. And we know that Kevin Durant wants to just, play ball and that's it. But it definitely seems like he needs to be a little bit more involved. But having a Devin Booker, having a Bradley Beal, I think this team should be fine with those. You got the pieces that could get things done, and you're going to need to continue to put up points. The big signings, I think they believe sign Bowl as well. You go get Yusuf Nurkic. Get all these pieces, man. This team is pretty talented, and I think that having a true point guard is the least of their worries right now. Having a Jordan Goodwin who's going to come in when they need him, I think that's a pretty decent, guard to come in. Eric Gordon as well. That team is loaded, man. So having a true point guard, I don't think is a big thing with them. They have so many damn scores. They probably can get away with not having that true point guard.
We'll discuss it here in a couple of weeks when we preview the Pacific. But, just looking at the box score, I know it's preseason, but nobody above 4. Nobody got 5 assists at least. Overtime win against the Pistons. So I think that's something to kind of keep an eye on. It's something I think I will look at as I need to possibly find somebody as well. But they do get the victory tonight in overtime. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to preview our Southwest Division. Hope y'all get y'all predictions in, which I see in the chat already. Thank y'all, gentlemen. This division is going to be I won't say dog fight. I use my words better, but a tough division for whoever comes out on top. A lot of uncertainty with this division. If you go down each team, you got like a concern with each team or a reason that they could finish out on top or a reason that they could finish lower than they should. The Pelicans. If Zion's up good and healthy, they're probably one of the better teams in the league. We saw evidence of that last season. John Morant, if he's head on straight, same thing, minus the injuries. We see evidence of that. The Mavs. If Doncic and Kyrie can coexist, hey, they could be one of the tops in the league as well. Houston, new coach. We seen Ime Udoka turn the Celtics into Eastern Conference champions and made their way back to the finals. Can he turn that franchise around? And then the Spurs. Is Victor Wembanyama a generational talent? Time will tell. But D-Lock, I'll let you go first. 5-1. Who do you have in the Southwest Division, sir?
Well, I think this is going to be one of the divisions that we will be very different upon. I really did some research more research anyway, and wanted to see this division be see that this division is a hell of a lot different than last year. I think that you have a few teams that could be a huge impact in the playoffs. So with that being said, I'll start with number 5. The San Antonio Spurs. They got the big draft pick and getting Victor Wembanyama. You did trade DeJounte Murray a few years back. Trade on Devin Vassell. I think this team is going to be pretty solid. Very young. I just think that they need a few more years to be, the Spurs of old. We've seen the Tony Parker, the Tim Duncan, David Robinson, Kawhi Leonard, Ginobili. I think it's going to be, they got a big piece in Victor. I think he's going to be a big part. But I don't see Zach Collins and Charles Bassey, making those huge impacts to where they can be very effective in this division. We need to see how much of an impact Victor is going to be, because you're going to have those centers that, like Anthony Davis, who could just back him down, and he's going to have, he's going to have to be strong to be able to handle that. So him, we got Jokic and B. These centers are probably 50 to 80 pounds, has more weight than him, and he's going to have to deal with that on a nightly basis. So for me, I think the Spurs are on the trending up, but I think they still need some more pieces to put together. Cedi Osman is a decent pickup, but I just think he's going to be in that rotation of guys. Jeremy Sochan, who had a hell of a season last year, to me, I think he'll play a big part. Devin Vassell, I think he makes that big step as well. So I think that they're going to be good. The biggest question is, can they literally just let Kendall Johnson play the small forward?
Yeah.
He's been playing the power forward from time to time, and moving him down to the forward position has not been as beneficial as I would want it to be. I think he's a better just small forward. Let your big guys play in the big positions, and just let him be in that small forward position. It's kind of similar to Jeremy Sochan as well. So I got them at 5. I think that they'll sneak out some games, but I definitely see them having some high scoring ass games. I don't really see too much defense on this roster just yet. Number 4, I have the Memphis Grizzlies. Yep. Well, let's talk about the Ja Morant situation.
Okay.
He's going to be gone for some time, right? I think that as good as his team has played without him, I think we're going to see a team that is going to look different without him. I mean, we've seen in the past with Tyus Jones, Desmond Bain being able to take over. They, they sometimes even look like a better team without Ja Morant. I don't think that's the case. That's the case this year. I think that we as fans have seen, teams prep for Ja Morant, but when he's out, all these other guys, John Cocker, Desmond Bain, Tyus Jones, all these guys will come in, and Santi Aldama, all these guys will come in and make a big impact, and teams were not prepared for it as best as they could be. So now I think teams are prepped for not seeing a Ja Morant around. Also, Jared Jackson got to stay out of damn foul trouble.
Yeah.
This man getting in foul trouble so much, it definitely hurts the impact that he can make on his team. So I don't know if that automatically changes. I think that that's gonna hurt them a lot more now, knowing that Ja Morant is gonna be out for some time. Going to get a Marcus Smart and Derrick Rose, going to get a Marcus Smart was a good piece. But hell, let's be honest, Derrick Rose really wasn't doing too much in New York. Now, I'm not saying it was all his fault, but he wasn't making a huge impact there. So I don't see Derrick Rose coming in and being the Derrick Rose of old because he's back home. So I think that this team is still a contending playoff team. That's the surprising thing. Is I still think this team is going to be pretty good. It's just that I see what other teams can be and expecting more of them. But also knowing Ja Morant is going to be out, I think there are some games that they may lose because of that. And hell, Jared Jackson has to show that he can finish games. That's one thing that we have not seen from him. So I got them at the 4. Got them in 4. And like I said, man, my preview, a hell of a lot different than usual. But I definitely think Memphis is going to be contending. I just think that they're going to be, in the 4th spot, battling with, the other teams ahead of them. At number 3, I got the Houston Rockets.
Okay.
They made one of the biggest offseason moves for them. Now, first of all, let's talk about the Kevin Porter thing. I don't see him playing anytime soon at all. But the biggest move that they made to me was getting Ime Udoka.
Yeah.
That is a hell of a pickup. And I feel like having him is going to make a big difference. One thing that we've seen in most sports, well, a lot of sports, coaching is a lot. Coaching is a big deal. Hell, we just seen what Jackson State looked like when Deion was there, and now let's see what Colorado looks like with Deion there. They look like a totally different team. Like, even though they got their ass whooped a couple games, but they damn sure won more games than they won in the previous years with a different coach. So for me, grabbing Ime Udoka with the history he's had with Boston, I think that is a great pickup for this Rockets team. The other big move they made was going to grab a stud guard like Fred VanVleet, which is what they needed. Any of you out there listening play FanDuel NBA, you knew to get guards against Houston because they ain't play a lick of defense. So going to get Fred VanVleet was a big, big move to me. Not only going to grab him, but you went and got Dylan Brooks. Now, we hear about all the trash talk he did last year, how he was supposed to be the villain. And he played, to be honest, he played the spot well. I mean, a lot of people didn't like him. You know, he played well sometimes. He was very inconsistent. But to be honest, I think this is an upgrade of the small forward position for the Rockets. Not on the offensive side, but because of what this team has. You know, you got you a couple guys in Jabari Smith, which is a top 2 pick. Jalen Green, who we know is outstanding. You go get you a small forward in the Dylan Brooks. I think that shores up the defensive side, which is what they really needed. So I'm not expecting Dylan Brooks to come in and be this incredible offensive playmaker, but him playing on the defensive side, I think is going to make a huge dividends for the Rockets. Also grabbing Reggie Bullock, who we know is a 3-and-D type guy. So you go and grab those pieces, and let's not forget, you got you a Jabari Smith. We got you an Alfred Sengun, who I think is one of the better centers in the league. It's just that they didn't know what the hell they wanted to do with him last year. So I like this Rockets team. Amen Thompson, Cam Whitmore, Tariq Eason, and Jason Tate. I like this Rockets team. But the biggest thing that I really like about this team is the fact that they went and got a coach that has been to the NBA Finals. So when you have that, I think the Rockets make a big step moving forward. I think they are a team that could make a big difference. Now, obviously, they're in the West, so it's going to be kind of tough. But I think that if they can put this together, you have a hell of a team, young team at that can do a lot of damage. But the biggest thing for me between them and Memphis, you know, is going to grab that coach, going to grab that star point guard. That made a big, big difference for me to say that the Rockets are put them at number 3. Number 2, I got the New Orleans Pelicans.
Interesting.
Now, we've heard about the whole Zion situation and off the court issue.
Yeah, we discussed it on the show.
We've discussed it a lot. If this guy, we said it last year, if he can stay healthy, now it seems like hell if he can just stay focused. C.J. McCollum, Brandon Ingram, Herb Jones, Zion, Valanciunas. I mean, that's a hell of a lineup. Nigel Martha and Trey Murphy off the bench, Larry Nance. They got some guys on this team. adding in Jordan Hawkins. I think that this team is ready to make that big step. I think that with the off the court issues, Zion, just recently having a child, I think this is the moment that he makes that big move. And if he makes that big move where he can stay healthy, we can get, 30 plus minutes out of Zion. This is a dangerous team, a very dangerous team. You got your defender in Herbert Jones who can damn near guard anybody, and then Valanciunas is playing a big role as well. This team is very special, and I wanted to take that leap to say that, hey, you know what? I think this is the year that they can make that big move. Having somebody like a McCollum and Zion at their best, this team could be very dangerous, and that's not including a Brandon Ingram as well. So for me, I think that the Pelicans are a playoff team, bona fide playoff team. I think that they make some noise. And now this does go with the fact that health, off the court issues. If this team can trend in the right direction and continue to, they can be very dangerous because they got playmakers all over the place with a little bit of defense. And number one, I got the Dallas Mavericks. Luka is going to be Luka. But my biggest thing is when you have a backcourt, Kyrie and Luka, I think that they're going to figure out how to actually play together. Going to grab Grant Williams, I think that was a hell of a pickup for the defender, for the defensive side, which, hell, we know they need big time. Going to get Oliver Prosper, I think, was a big draft pick. I think he's going to, be in that forward position because one thing that the Mavericks had problems with, issues was with the center and the power forward position. So I think that Oliver and Derek Lively will play a big part for this team. Now, this shows how much length that they have. And I think that they're going to, when you have those two guys, Luka and Kyrie, I think they're already going to be set to be trending in the right direction as well. Grabbing a Grant Williams that played a big piece, that means that now you can kind of lean on Tim Hardaway to come off the bench and bring that energy. So, also, I really like the fact that they signed Rashawn Holmes. He is a hell of a player if he gets the minutes. And I kind of see him playing a little bit more than Dwight Powell in my eyes. Another person that they picked that was big was Derek Jones. So clearly they're showing that they want to improve, at the forward position. So for me, like I said, I think this team is trending in the right direction. Going to grab another guard in Seth Curry. I mean, I think this team runs away with this division. But it does go as far as Luka and Kyrie Irving. If these two can play together, then I think this team is going to be hard to beat for anybody. So I got the Spurs at 5. Biggest shocker is Memphis at 4. Houston at 3, which is a hell of a shocker as well. Pelicans at 2. Mavericks at 1. I'll say 2 teams right now make the playoffs, and one team makes the play-in out of this division. So 3 teams.
So yeah, the Mavs at number 1. We get the Pelicans placed again.
I got the Pelicans at 2.
Pelicans at 2. Okay. Make sure I got that jotted down. All righty. Real quick for me. Number 5, the San Antonio Spurs. I got a starting lineup of Trey Jones, Vassell, who got paid here recently, Keldon Johnson at the 3, Sohan at the 4, and Victor Wembanyama at the 5. Now, you could maybe pick out Sohan for Zach Collins, but I don't think that's going to happen because of Wembanyama's height and all that stuff. I think the only question for the Spurs is like, can Wembanyama have a very solid rookie year? Can he show that, he can be that face of the franchise? Like a David Robinson, like a Tim Duncan, and then for a short time, Kawhi Leonard. Can he be that dude for that franchise? Time will tell. I expect hopefully Sohan has a big leap in year 2. I think it'd be key. If this team's going to compete anything like that or compete for like a playoff spot, I think he's got to step up his play. Vassell, he's like each year he's progressing nicely. So if he can get like a big year out of him and take some of that scoring pressure off Wembanyama, I think they'll go a long way for this team. The point guard spot, that's a real weak link in this team. I know they traded for Devontae Graham, but it's like ever since he got paid, is just like, he kind of just checked out. So maybe coming to the Spurs, maybe it can like reunite him in some play at the point guard position and help out there. But I do like the kid Julian Champagne to come out the bench and get some quality minutes in. I mentioned about Zach Collins. Sadie Thompson, should be a good guy at the 3, maybe at stretch 4 at times. Still got Doug McDermott in the fold, who can help out, spread out when they're out there with Victor. But like I said, all depends, how things go with Benya. And also kind of keep an eye on Greg Popovich too. How long does he stay in the head coach position? I think that's kind of fair to question. How long does he stay in this position, and who would be the heir apparent if Wembanyama is that dude? But I get the Spurs at 5. Could be a sneaky team if things get run that teams don't want to play. All right, number 4. I got the New Orleans Pelicans.
Oh my God, that's different.
I got to start line up with CJ, B.I., Herb, Zion, and Valanciunas. I did like to pick a Jordan Hawkins. Larry Nance, he's nice when he's healthy. My thing with this team is Zion. He gives us and he takes us. When he's on the court, one of the better teams in the league. When he's out the court, he takes us, and they like a sub 500 team without him. There ain't no shade to B.I. or CJ. And I love some Herb Jones. Alabama's own. Along with Kyra Lewis down there. Shout out to North Alabama. Anyways. But, B.I. at times missed games last season. CJ missed games at times last season. Herb Jones missed a time last season. Kyra Lewis getting back from that ACL injury. Zion, injury as well. And then we talked about on the show in the summer. Besides the health issues, he got other personal issues going on. So if the health thing I know injuries happen in sports, but if the health thing is minimal with this team, then I think me and you both probably agree that we expect better things. But if it's not, and all those guys at his name are they gonna miss time and stuff like this past season, this upcoming year, then the Pelicans are be fine for playoff positioning again. They peaked peaked last season around December. Can they get to that point again but stay there? That's the main question. I expect other guys like Dyson Daniels. Hopefully they step up as well. I think Jordan Hawkins there. I think that should push him. But if you know, send a kid down to the G League and get some reps in there as well. But I got the Pelicans at number 4 for that reason alone. Zion. Number 3. This was kind of tough. I could have went either way with this, but I got the Houston Rockets at number 3. I almost put them at number 2. Emmanuel Carter is going to change the culture with that team. For the past few years with this Rocket squad with Steven Silas at the helm, they seem like the bad news bears on how they played on the court. A lot of bad shooting. Guys not progressing. This young all around. Sometimes you watch a Houston game, kind of like they got some of those guys have faces like, I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? So Yukata coming in is going to help shape that culture. Now some people are kind of surprised Malika Andrews that he got a job again, which I think we discussed on the show last year. That man almost got the Brooklyn Nets job after Steve Nash got let go. That's how close he got to another job, D-Lock. We talked about on this show. And how would things would be if he had got that job? Would Kevin Durant and Kyrie still be in Brooklyn? It's fair to ask. You want to talk about a butterfly effect? If you caught to get hired to Brooklyn, do KD and Kyrie still in Brooklyn? But nevertheless, the subject of the day. I do wonder with Yukata, if he stayed in Boston, would have won a championship with Taylor and Brown? Did that whole situation with him up in Boston, him losing his job, and the lady that he had a relationship with still got a job, is that going to affect Boston in a way? We shall see. But with him going to this situation, getting Van Fleet was a good move. You need some stability there, like you alluded to, at that guard spot. I got Van Fleet at the 1, Jalen Green at the 2, Brooks at the 3, Jarabi Smith at that 4 position, and some gun at the 5. Jarabi Smith he got to take a big leap this year. He kind of somewhat showed that in the summer league, but I think it's got really got to show this season. So Gunn, I like you like this guy's game. He's a double machine, and I won't put it out there. I think he's going to average a double this year. Only worry with this lineup, I hope Dylan Brooks don't think he can come in and shoot willy nilly. I hope he plays within the offense and what they want to do in Houston. But if he can come in and do that, I think, hey, things will be gravy, for them. We talked about the Kevin Porter situation. I don't think the dude plays again in Houston. And it's kind of silly for them trying to trade him because no team's gonna try to take the contract and then eat that contract, and then the guy gets suspended for how many games? Probably for the rest of the year, if we're being honest. But Amin Thompson, Ken Whitmore, you could bring them along slowly off the bench. Tari Eason, a 24 who played very well last year. You added Reggie Bullock late in training camp. So a lot of good pieces for this Rocket team. A team that you probably don't want to play. So if this team's going to try and make the playoffs, which I got them pegged in that play-in area. Darby Smith, like I said, got to take a big leap. Van Fleet, if he come in, just be a good solid guard, which I think he will. I think they'll get things going a long way for them. And I think Houston is a real sleeper team that we got to watch out for in the NBA. But I got them at number 3. Number 2, I got the Dallas Mavericks.
Ooh.
I got a lineup of Irving, Doncic, Josh Green at the 3, Grant Williams at the 4, and Richaun Holmes at the 5. They took Lively in the draft, they traded with OKC. Can he develop to be that big man for them in the future? And he's got to show that he'd be more valuable than Kleber and Powell. And you can ship those two guys out because those two guys been there for a while and haven't produced jack squat for the Mavs. And also, Irving can play off ball. Doncic is another story. Can he play off ball at times when Kyrie is cooking at the point guard position? I think that's the thing that we didn't see too much when those two on the court, but can Doncic play off ball? Can he move out the basketball? That's a legit question. Because I think the next evolution of Lucas Gaines should be like moving at the basketball, not holding the ball, dribbling till the shot clock gets down. I think, I think there's still things he could work on in his game, man. I think that's one of those things. Moving at the basketball. Look to get open. Watch some like old film on Kobe, Rip Hamilton, Tracy McGrady. I think those like 3 guys you can start off right there. You can look moving without the basketball. Look, posting up, get open, stuff like that. If he could work on that type of deal, I think this team would be deadly. Especially that backcourt, because that's a backcourt you really don't see, especially in the playoff time for like a 7-game series. Grant Williams, he got to be consistent. Stay out of foul trouble. I think Richaun Holmes, I think he'll be motivated. Didn't play a lot last year and stuff like that. So, fresh shot in Dallas, man down low, take advantage of the opportunity, and be that double machine that you were like a few years ago. But I got Dallas number 2. And also with Dallas, Jason Kidd. Is there like a clock ticking on him? Depending on how things go, if things going good, then he's good. If things go bad, I don't know. That seat maybe get a little bit warm. But Jason Kidd, another person got to keep. We're gonna got to keep an eye on for this Mavs team. And number one for me, I got the Memphis Grizzlies at number one. I know Morant's gonna be out the first little bit of the season, but I think they kind of showed that they can still get by with them without him. Like Marcus brought him in the chat, D Rose will be solid off the bench and provide leadership. I think Rose will be motivated in his return to Memphis. Wherever it happened in New York, it happened. We talked about Tibbs, last week. He could be his own worst enemy. I got a lineup of Morant, Bane, Kennard, JJ, and Steven Adams. Another question with this team, D-Lock, is the health down low. The health of the big guys. Brandon Clark returning for ACL. Steven Adams missed that second part, a good part of that second part of the season, including the playoffs, which the Lakers took advantage of. Jaren Jackson, like you alluded to, can you stay out of foul trouble? And then, what we saw earlier, saw on X on Twitter, if he gets defensive player again, he's up for a big time extension. North for $300 million. So, he's gonna be motivated this year as well. I thought about the young guys before that they have, like Roddy Williams, Zaire Williams, stuff. I do like those guys. I think I expect bigger roles out of them this year. Marcus Smart is another guy who should be to come in and play well for them as well. And this is why I kind of kept him at number one, because if they did get like somebody like a Marcus Smart in the fold, yeah, I'll probably drop it down peg because Morant is not there. But since you got someone like Smart there to kind of, to kind of keep things going at that guard spot, I don't think they're losing too much. And like I said about the young guys, some of the young guys can replace the Dillon Brooks production. So I still got that number one in my eyes. Now, could they slip down? Sure. And I think if this team is going to make it deeper in the playoffs, Morant's got to stay healthy and stay out of trouble. JJ got to stay healthy. Desmond Bane can't disappear at times. And he got a big-time contract extension as well. So if all those things fall in place for the Grizzlies, I think they'd be just fine. One way their record will hurt is, the absence of Ja Morant. But like I said, I think that is stabilized with Marcus Smart in the fold. Using Tyus Jones is going to hurt, but I think, we got a clear upgrade over with Smart right there. So to recap for me, I got San Antonio number 5, New Orleans number 4, Houston number 3, Dallas number 2, and Memphis number 1. And real quick, to chat, Tamara Rodriguez, he got the Grizzlies number 1, Spurs at number 2, That's bold. Pelicans at number 3. Mavs at number 4. And the Rockets at number 5.
And the Rockets at number 5.
That's bold. Marcus got the Grizzlies at number 1. The Mavs at number 2. The Rockets number 3. The Pelicans number 4. And the Spurs at number 5. So Marcus in line with me. Mr. Rodriguez is the one who got the Spurs kind of sneaking up on folks this year. So it's going to be real interesting to see, how things play out in this division. Like a lot of variable factors can happen in this division.
Yeah.
The Spurs can can sneak up on folks. The Mavs down low play can kind of hinder them.
Yeah.
The Rockets, some of those young guys kind of regress a little bit or don't buy into Ime Udoka. But let me ask you this about the Rockets. There's a report out that James Harden almost basically had a match offer from Houston. But he wanted to be like himself in Houston. And Udoka kind of shot that down and said, hey, we're doing a different thing down here. If James Harden was in the fold, what do you think this team would look like?
The fact that James Harden is saying that he wants to be himself, it means he wants to be in the MVP race. He's not thinking about necessarily being part of that team and winning. I don't see them being a hell of a lot more different, like positive wise with this team with James Harden. I think they're better off with Van Fleet because at least Van Fleet's going to play some defense.
Yeah.
You're not getting that from James Harden. That's just the honest truth. So for me, I think the fact that Van Fleet is also a defender, I think it's big. The fact that they have gotten Van Fleet, but getting a James Harden, I don't feel like they fixed the guard position. They got James Harden. They get a guard that can score, get assists, shit like that. But I don't think, he makes a huge, huge difference on the defensive side. So probably a good thing that James Harden kind of spoke on what he wanted, but the Rockets did not sign him. They would have gave him a max deal. He would have scored a hell of a lot of points, but I don't see them being competitive on the West at all. To where getting a Van Fleet, I see this team being a little bit more competitive. Also knowing that they signed somebody like Dillon Brooks.
If James Harden didn't shoot himself in the foot with that, and plus, I think if Steven Silas didn't get fired, then I think that it would have happened. But Steven Silas is not there. You got a new sheriff in town. And I think what James kind of screwed up in is like what we saw with Tatum and Brown up in Boston. They still got their points. So that's why I was like, you see what in the quote and stuff like that, what Harden said and stuff like that, what reported. And then like, well, James, if you think about it, Tatum and Brown still got their scoring in. They still average, career highs on that stuff. They still handle the ball, all that good stuff. I just think James kind of came off too strong in that instance. And plus, you kind of got to think about, like, I got a lot of younger guys on this roster, too, that I got to develop. At the time, Kevin Porter Jr., before his issues. Jalen Green. The young in the draft picks of Cam Whitmore, Amen Thompson as well. He got You got to factor all that in. You can't have James just do his thing and take away the progress from the other guys. So the Van Fleet move, hey, great for him. Great for Fred Van Fleet. I'm pretty sure he loves his time in Toronto. But hey, get out Toronto, get out the cold, not paying double taxes. Go to Houston. Uh, no state income tax and all that stuff. You say a little pocket change, stuff like that. Hey, it's a win-win for him. But sometimes this is what's going on in Philly with James. Sometimes he's just shooting himself in the damn foot. And Houston said no, and you can't fault him for that. I'll let you have the last word.
I mean, Harden had the chance to go there, and it's probably a good thing he did speak up because, like I said, getting a Van Fleet makes a big impact, and that's why I had them at 3. I feel like they're going to make that big improvement. Going to get some defenders. I think that and you have a true point guard in Van Fleet. I think that the Rockets can make that next step. So, like I said, if you look at this division, Pelicans, Dallas, and Memphis are probably your playoff teams for sure. Now with John Morant being out, for me, I think it takes a huge hit on what they can do. But also, not only that, me putting them at 4 is not necessarily about what they've done, but more so what the Rockets have done. Going to get a man Thompson, getting Cam Whitmore, with Fran Van Fleet and Dylan Brooks. Then you're going to get Udoka, who we know has the history of being a hell of a coach. As you said, he was almost in Brooklyn. So now that you got, those key pieces, I think this is the big turnaround for Houston. And you can tell that by the fact is James Harden said he wanted to be his old self, and Iman Udoka said, hell no. He's coming there to win. And maybe that's one of the reasons why we haven't seen James Harden being traded just yet. So for me, Van Fleet is a big piece. I think we do see that big growth in Sengun and Jabari Smith. But I think that growth would have been stunned if you would have had James Harden on that team.
Yeah, I think I agree with that as well. And I think this division will be fun and a lot of potential, especially some of the young guys. Especially in the draft class. Amin Thompson, how's he gonna look? How's he gonna develop? A very big guard at 6'7". I'm real curious to see how he plays. For Houston. Cam Whitmore, who I really like coming out of the draft. Big body at his age. And seeing him play in the summer league, I'm like, damn. Y'all let a bad interview process and a little injury kind of make him slip to the Houston. Some teams, but we probably see it down the line here. Some teams probably regretted that. Victor Wembanyama, his progress, how he plays, and like you mentioned, how he gonna stand up to these guys in the league? If we talking about like the early 2000s, 90s, probably saying, how you gonna fare against Shaq, David Robinson, Tim Duncan, uh, Chris Webber, and whoever else, Rasheed Wallace, those folks, Ben Wallace. Now, don't got too many guys like that. Ruby Gobert, Anthony Davis come to mind, Jokic, Embiid. But after that, you kind of scraping there. I mean, yeah, you got Valanciunas and Steven Adams, but they, so his his progression, how he plays, start of the season as well. So this vision is gonna be a lot of fun to watch. Kyrie, how he plays with Luka, how long that situation lasts. So a lot of interesting moving parts in this division in the Southwest. Any final thoughts on this?
I think that only that last thing I would probably say is just watch out for the Spurs. I mean, if they can kind of get things rolling with Victor, I think this team will be better than what many are expecting. They have a few key pieces that can do something, and if Victor can live up to the hype, this team can make a couple moves. So, but definitely watch out for the Spurs. They got a hell of a coach, as we know. So they could, steal a few games and kind of mess up the West playoffs for other teams. I don't see them making the playoffs, but they definitely could steal a few games with the young roster they do have.
So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Lots of bold predictions in this division. So I appreciate y'all in the chat tonight. Give y'all predictions as well. So that was fun, and to y'all's predictions as well. So a lot of good stuff we talked about here tonight. Well, I want to thank our sponsor here at Ice Sports Radio, Planet Jerky. If you love beef jerky, check out the website, planetjerky.org. Lots of good flavors on there. Lots of good sales as well. Do check them out on planetjerky.org as well. But this has been our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in with us here on Fast Break for Ice Sports Radio. D-Lock, how can the people find you on social media?
You guys find me at Black-813. Twitter and Instagram, that is Black, the word dash, 813. Let them know where they can find you at and the show's page.
You can find the show's page at Fast Break at IESR. That's Fast Break IESR on X/Twitter. Do follow IE Sports Radio on all your social media feeds on X/Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube as well. And IESportsRadio.com, where you get your latest shows, news, and feeds. Lots of shows on the network. Football season is here, so we're on the majority of NFL markets. So do tune in to these shows. Actually, we got a show right behind us. Let me pull that up. It's our Denver show. It'll be on here about 30 minutes from now at 10 Eastern, 9 Central, 8 Mountain Time. So do check him out right after us. I do have a Twitter page on the side, Spawn4288 is Spawn4288. I talked about my Titans today, which they lost to the Colts. So I did post a video for IE Sports Radio. And thank you, Taryn. Maha must musings here right after us. Do check out that X page. I do another show on the side called The Crooks Process. Check out that page on Instagram and Facebook. You see the CP logo there on Instagram and Facebook, The Crooks Process. Also, The Crooks Process on TikTok as well. I posted a video on there today as well. So do check that out. We'll be back next week, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be previewing the Central Division. A lot of changes there as well. A lot of top heavy teams is there as well. So be a fun division to preview next week. But until then, we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.